Good morning, Ziz. Right, so today we are talking about intervals. So this whole video is just dedicated to intervals. I need you to write this diagram down and study it, all right? You might not use all of it this year, but when you have the bigger picture, then I think it's just easier going forward. So, right, you get two groups of intervals. Intervals of a first, when the note is exactly the same, a fourth, a fifth, and an eighth, an octave. You know what those look like. I'm not going to go through that again. We did that yesterday. Then you also get another group, and they are grouped together, intervals of a second, a third, a sixth, and a seventh. Alright, so if you look at the diagram, it says start here or start here. So when you get an interval, let's take an example quickly. Let's take the one on page 45. So where can I do that? You can see it's treble clef, and it is, I'm not there, fat cats go. It's A major, and it is A to E, right? That's the one at the bottom of page 45. So the interval is a fifth because you can count. So would it be under this group or under this group? It'll be within this group, right? So now you say to yourself, you think in the key of the bottom note. You forget about the key that the piece is in, right? But you think in the key of the bottom note. Now in this case, it is A at the bottom, and you are in A major, so your luck is in, it's easy. So you think in A major. What is the key signature for A major? Fat cats go. Fat cats go, so they're there. Does A major have A major has three shops, fat cats go. You think in A major. Then you write a fifth as you would find it in A major. That is how you'll do it. The way that the interval will be in a major scale, that for unison, fourth, fifth, and eighth, we call perfect. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but they are called perfect. If we go to, let's say, again A major, just to make it simple and to illustrate, fat cats go, and we go from A to F sharp, because there's an F sharp. So you always apply the key signature to the notes, but then you forget about the overall key. We look at the bottom note. Again, in this case, it is A, and we are in A major, so your luck is in there. If this interval now is now a sixth, right? So it's in this lot. For fifth, you looked at that. So is this what the interval would look like in A major? Yes, A major has an F sharp, so that this would be a major sixth. We start here, always. Is it a major? Yes. I could have just written down here A to F sharp. You see, it's exactly the same thing. This one is then a perfect fifth. It is how you would find the fifth in a major. I'm going to write here in brackets. Major, but we don't call it major. It's very important that you make the differentiation between perfect and major. Right, let me give you another example quickly. I'm just going to do something from my mind. So let's say we're in F major, and that's given to us. And they ask, what is that interval? Now, you apply the key signature and then you can ignore it. So that, I just write it there, then you can't be confused. You apply the key signature. If that was an F sharp, it wouldn't affect any of those. So the B flat would affect the B. Now you ignore it. Now you go, right, it's an E flat to a B flat. Do you see how important note names are? Please, you have to know your note names. E flat to B flat. E flat major has boys eat all. 3 flats. Boys eat all. E flat major, B flat major. B flat. So in E flat major, a perfect fifth would be from E flat to B flat. And that is exactly that. So what is this? This is a perfect fifth. Let me do something else. Let's go with that. Right. I'm going to do just a couple just so you can see what my thinking processes are. So, here we have a key of F major, which means you'll have a B flat. Your interval is from D to G. Does the B flat affect that? No. Ignore it. If it was a B flat, you have to apply it. There's a D and a G, it doesn't affect it. So, now you think this note's name is D. You think in D major. D major has a F sharp and a C sharp, right? In D major, what would a perfect fourth be? Because that is a fourth. We know it because we can count. 1, 2, 3, 4. What would a perfect fourth be in D major? Now you have to know F sharp, C sharp, it doesn't apply to that. So D to G is a perfect fourth. Okay. This is still fairly easy and I hope that makes sense. Now, let's quickly do something else. Quickly get an example so I don't. Right, so let's go base clef and what I want to do. Let's do that. Right. From that's given to you. A C, an A flat, and a key signature for F sharp. Again, first you apply your key signature to C, F sharp, A flat, C. Your F sharp does not apply to any of that, so ignore it. Alright? Now, C to A flat. We think in the key of the bottom note. So we think in C major. C major has 0 sharps, 0 flats. So, in C major, we start here. In C major, you will have C to A natural. Now, something that I didn't say. An interval is basically a gap. That's why you call it a sixth, a seventh, a fifth. We measure that gap. So, the gap here we have major. We can see that your major sixth is not the same as what we are given. So now we need to say, what happened to this interval? Did it get smaller or did it get bigger? In this case, the C is obviously constant. A sharp is higher than A flat. So, look at my fingers quickly. This is C to A. What we are given is C to A flat. So it's smaller. C to A flat is smaller than the major. So we start here. We say, right, this is what our major looks like. What's given to us is smaller with one semitone. If you make the interval smaller, one semitone, you get minor. So from from C to A flat is then, where's my lappy? So this answer is minor sixth. Let me do another one. Let's do that. Keep it very simple. The interval is a third, so we're working in this group. We are going to write a major third. We think in the bottom notes key, which in this case is A. A major has F, fat, cat, go. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. So now we go and we write a major third. We start here. We create a major third. A to C sharp. But what's given to us is A to C. Now, here we go again. This is A, that is C sharp. We start here with the major. What is given to us is A to C natural. In other words, this note is lower than that one. The C is lower than the C sharp. So our major interval was made smaller to get to what they're asking us. So this would be a minor third. Okay, that is more or less what you have to know. Like I said, I've given you the bigger picture. Why? Because if you understand the whole thing, then it will make a bit more sense. And if I explain more, it gives you more examples to see what the thinking process is. Let me explain something quickly that you don't have to know, but it will just reiterate the thinking process. So I'm going to give us something like this. Let's say F to C sharp. Right. I'm not going to do key signatures. I want to try and just keep it a bit simpler. So we think in F major. F major has a B flat. It doesn't apply to anything here. Great. Now we start here. We write, it's a fifth, right? Sorry, we need to count. It's fifth. We go ahead and we create, start here. Write a perfect fifth. So F to C would be a perfect fifth. Let me just do that. So F to C is a perfect fifth. Here we go. F to C. What is given to us is F to C sharp, which means my interval was made bigger. That's what we wrote down as a perfect fifth. This one is one step bigger, one semitone bigger. So this interval that is given to us, this one, is then an augmented fifth. It is bigger. Augment. If you augment something, you make it bigger. Augmented fifth is bigger than a perfect fifth. Alright. Similarly, I'm going to do exactly the same example, yet a little different. So, F to C flat. Again, we think in F major, B flat doesn't apply to that. It's a fifth, exactly like that. Now, we write a perfect fifth. This would be F to normal C, C natural. But what's given to us is C flat. Do you see what my finger does? F to C is your perfect fifth. F to C flat. So that flat makes the interval smaller. So this answer would be a diminished fifth. It is smaller. If you diminish someone when you speak to them, you make them feel smaller. Augmented, bigger, diminished, smaller. So here we go. Our perfect fifth, C to F, F to C, but what's given to us is F to C flat, so it is smaller with one semitone, so it makes it a diminished fifth. If you get to that point, when we get to intervals of, intervals of 2, 3, 6, and 7, one semitone smaller would give you minor. That's up to where you have to know. If that interval is made smaller from your major, 2 semitones, so another semitone down, then it will be diminished. A quick example. Just going to keep it simple again. So let's go C to A. C major is no sharps, no flats. C to A is a major sixth. We start there. C to A flat is one semitone smaller. So that will be A, that is major, capital M, minor, small m, just so that you can see the difference. C to A double flat would be diminished sixth. Okay, I hope that makes sense. There's one more thing I quickly want to just tell you, so that you can now carry on with the exercises on page 46, 47, 48, 49, up to there. When you get to page 49, you say, but oh, these things are now confusing. It is exactly the same thing. You'll remember that we get two types of, these are two groups, but you get two types of intervals. When an interval, let me just quickly write this down for you. When an interval is written like that, it is called a harmonic interval. They are right on top of each other. If it is written like that, it is called a melodic. Harmonies, they all get played together. Melodic is like you sing. I can't sing two notes at the same time. There are people that say they can. That's another thing. But I can't. I can sing one note at a time. That's what we call it, a melody. They don't fall at the same time. Harmonic, same time, melody, next to each other. If it confuses you, take a piece of manuscript paper and then write them right next to each other. You might be given something like this. On page 49, B flat, E flat, and the notes aren't even next to each other, but they still have an interval. There's a bar line in between. From that B, that's number 1, it's a quaver attached to other quavers, then there's a bar line, and then there's an E that is also a quaver that's attached to other quavers, and it's got, oops, that's not a square bracket, but it says 1. So your interval is from B to E. If that confuses you, remember it's B flat to E flat because there's a B flat and E flat in the key signature. Then rewrite it in something that you can understand or that makes more sense. It's not going to confuse you. Then you write B flat to E flat, and I can tell you that's a perfect fourth. Okay, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, but I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, watch the video again. Okay, good luck, Z's.